Hey guys, Tinksy here, back with something a little bit different this time. We're actually going to be doing a reverse speed build. I know, strange concept. So it's basically me just talking you through the process of making a house. So basically all the footage is just going to be played in reverse, so I'll kind of just talk you through the process, and you can also see the items that we used along the way. Now I really wanted like a two-story house, and I really wanted like an open courtyard, so this was kind of the layout that I ended up going with. There was also a little bit of inspiration, which you'll see a little bit later, of making a bit of a secret room using the ivy, which I was absolutely in love with, so you'll see that very shortly. I also wanted to include a little bit of like a paddock where you could potentially have some animals out back, and I also really wanted the top of the build to feel like it was made of wood versus stone on the lower level. I also wanted to include a lot of adornments, just because I feel like there's a lot of really cute ones out there, and I think it really gives the cottage its sort of whimsical and magical element to it as well. And that's kind of what I was going for this build, is sort of like a little alchemist that lives somewhere out in the country sort of space, loves their nature, loves their flowers, but often pretty much kind of keeps to themselves, like a little bit of a recluse. So I wanted to make sure we had pretty much plenty of pillars, plenty of flowers. I love the green home flower beds because they pair so nicely with the windows that actually come with the alchemist cottage. They actually fit almost perfectly. Now, biggest tip I could probably offer a lot of people is you'll find when you put your windows on the outside and then visit inside, the windows are probably sitting a little bit lower than you would like, so just make sure you do actually go in and adjust from the inside. It might look like they're sitting a little bit higher outside, but that's where the flower pots sort of come in, and the flower beds, I should say, to really help sort of disguise that a little bit more so it doesn't look like it's sitting up way too high. I also used a lot of the rose bushes that came from the new flower event in Killamar, and then also my favorite flowers, the Lunar Anemone flowers, which you get from the Lunar Margie market, so it'll be in February for anyone that's trying to get their hands on those ones, just because they do change color at nighttime. Now with the landscaping, I wanted to make sure I included lots of the terrain pieces, lots of the different bushes and shrubs, an assortment of different trees, some of the mushrooms that you get from the pixie blossom bounce, as well as some of the ferns. And I also want to include a few little flowers, a few little of the original mushrooms, things like that. Also the lilacs and the cosmos that you also get from the pixie blossom bounce. And then I love these pavers. I love these sandstone pavers. I love the sizes that you can get. You can mix and match as you see fit. I always feel like it makes like a really nice natural path. Including some of the little moonstruck candles as well along the path to give it that little magical sort of element to it. Now, I love landscaping, and I feel like one of my biggest tips is don't go too dense too quickly. It's good to spread things out and have like little sprinklings of everything. That way it does make it feel very big and natural, but you also don't hammer through your item limit way too quickly. For the back here as well, I just want to make it very simple. Cute little campfire moment with some mushy plushies, and a few other little bits and pieces that would just be found in a typical kind of backyard out in the middle of nowhere. And then also just making sure we kept all the outdoor decor, all the trees and things running the whole way around the property. And it kind of just sort of compasses around the backyard area to give it that own little private space. Next, we're using a lot of the fences that came from the new ranchers decor, which I wanted to make sure I use plenty of because it is such a cute clutter decor set. Obviously very farm focused, but there's a lot of good stuff in there. The hay bales, the troughs, perfect for building a little paddock area, the hay stacks, the wagon even, the little tool set that comes with it. So I really want to incorporate that in the back part. Next, moving inside, I just wanted to get a whole bunch of the wallpapers going, make sure it feels very cozy, but also like a little bit dark, a little bit mystical in some parts. So once again, really keeping and sticking to like our woods and stones, because I think that really is what makes this build what it is. Now, I wasn't sure what to put in the entry room for the longest part, and then I thought it'd actually be really cute if there was some sort of a shrine, but a very natural one. Now, I love stacking the planks to make your own sort of little edgings to keep all your flowers in, just so it really feels like a proper garden bed. And then I really wanted to use, aside from the Phoenix Shrine, like some sort of a water feature. And then finally a few Umbran and Elderwood sort of features to really tie it off. Next, this little space I wanted to be like a little entry, sit and get ready for your adventures kind of space. And then just tie it off with like a nice little console area at the back where you can leave your bits and pieces as you come in. After that, we have our dining and lounge room. So I want it to be a fairly open space, but still kind of separate the two spaces within this long room. I really wanted this feature wall full of paintings and sort of trophies to really tie the space together. A lot of different displays, things like that when you come in. It's like a room full of oddities. The lighting really makes a big impact here, which is why I'm sort of recording at nighttime so you can see the impact that lighting really brings to these spaces. In saying that, you don't get heaps of natural light in here, so the lights really do make or break the space. I also wanted to have plenty of natural elements, hence the sort of like pillar in the middle, and then a few other little plants that we've got scattered around, still to make sure it feels like that natural alchemist home. The next room is going to be our workshop sort of space. So I wanted to have two different kind of areas. One of like a bit more of your customization and tinkering, tailoring kind of space. And the other one where all your heavy crafts sort of go on. So at the back here, I wanted this little showcase moment with the mannequins. And then to the side, have all the planks, like your woodworking bits and pieces going down. And then on the opposite side, we're gonna have all our mining and then our workbenches as well. So this is where all the heavy duty stuff sort of happens. I also didn't want to clutter the space too hard because I still wanted the practicality of being able to access your workbenches like without too much interruption. Next comes my favorite space, the kitchen. Now this was the first room I actually ever made in the house. And I love kitchens. I love how much you can clutter them. I love all the new decor and all the pots and things that came in with the Rancher's set. And in the center, I wanted to have this really extravagant sort of spread on the little tables there. Now, I didn't really use many glitches in this build, but with the counters, I did use just the cup trick just to get the counters to sit nicely. And then absolutely went to town with all the different bits of clutter, all the pots, pans, the gourmet items. Once again, making sure to incorporate different bits of lighting to make it feel a little bit warm in the space too. There's so many good items between like the makeshift gourmet and now the Rancher's sets that help really fill out a kitchen. And then making sure to have like the two different spaces. So obviously you've got your cooking side and then you've got your prep side, maybe a bit more on the other side. I think a kitchen is definitely one of those spaces that can really make a space or a build feel lived in. And then sort of just rounding it off as well with just like a little bit of storage in here, but the next room over is going to be our actual storage room. So just a few accessible bits in here, and then the next room we're going to go hard with a lot more of those other bits and pieces. Now I do want to say how happy I am that we've got like sacks in the game, crates in the game, more barrels in the game, just all of that good clutter that can really help fill a space. Now heading upstairs to one of my other favorite rooms to make, which was the plant space. So the whole purpose of this space was to be this space where this alchemist can sort of access all their different herbs, all the different flowers they need for alchemy. But it's also just such a cluttered space because there is so much to use, so much to take care of. And it really just adds to that natural element of the build in having this big old flower space that does sort of like overflow ever so slightly outside with a few other different flowers, but this is the primary space. It's also a really good idea to help sort of cover that sort of awkward top of the staircase sort of space. Now coming outside, once again, you're going to see plenty of those lunar anemone flowers because they are absolutely my favorite flower in the game. And then I also wanted to have like a little seating space, so a bit of flowers, a bit of stargazing, and then a little spot where you can just relax and, I don't know, just take a moment to sit and breathe. You'll also see that I've just covered the doorway with the ivy because that is how we make our secret doors. You can walk through ivy, and as long as it's on the wall in the alchemist's house, you can still walk through it and have it there. And then after that, we move into the bedroom. So this is going to be a little bit of a book nook, a little bit of study space, obviously your bed space as well, and then a bit of bath space. So here I wanted to make sure we had a little bit of a custom shelf kind of moment. Once again, using the cup trick to keep it all nice and close together. Have a little comfy spot where you can sit and read. Once again, bringing that nice warm lighting in to make it feel very cozy. A nice little desk space, and then using the petitions, the Lily Rattan petitions, to separate the two spaces. Wanted to include some alchemy ingredients in there because you never know what this alchemist is up to. And then moving into a little bit of a nice sort of bath space, getting all the little essentials there that you need. A few flowers, got to keep it natural. And then moving on to the bed space, got to have those plushies and warm lighting by the bed because I think that's almost an essential. And then a nice compact little wardrobe space where you can dress and get ready for the day as well. Moving upstairs, I wanted some weird, creepy attic kind of vibes, but also just where you put everything that you don't really use all year round. So you'll see a lot of like the Winter Lights Christmas elements, and then a whole bunch of just leftover discarded items that just make it feel like, well, this is the space that they have to sit at the end of the day. And that's what attics are great for, is just cluttering your heart out with whatever you've got, and it kind of makes sense. It's very, very hard to go wrong when you're cluttering an attic space, because you can pretty much put almost anything there. And that's everything. I hope you guys found this somewhat insightful, and I'm going to leave you with a little walkthrough. Enjoy. As always, thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this.